welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your hosts, Daniel.
And Daniel.
And Daniel, we haven't done this yet today.
No, we haven't had technical difficulties. That is normally what we ended up doing in the very beginning of our podcast life.
That's right.
But just top of the order thing, we've had issues. Second off, we are recording 2 episodes ahead of time just for the simple fact that when this goes live for you all to listen to it or see it over on YouTube, we'll be getting back from Gen Con. It would be the last day of driving for us. We had just gone through the whole Gen Con weekend. Hopefully we won't get con crud.
Hopefully.
So we'll see what happens, but there's going to be a lot of people there. But yeah, so that's why we're doing filming back to back. You won't notice anything different on the audio side. On the visual side, mostly you'll see is a hat change, and that's just for my editing purposes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and there's also some inclement weather that we've been having lately, and especially today too. So hopefully it won't cut out. Fingers crossed. But wouldn't be an Everyday Board Games episode if we didn't have some technical difficulties.
Yeah, and what's crazy about it was like bright and sunny all day, and then all of a sudden, at not even an hour ago, it just rolled in all of a sudden.
Yep, that's like New Mexico, right?
It was like, great, right before we record. You couldn't do this like 2 hours ago. You couldn't do this 2 hours later. It has to be right now when I'm recording.
Right. That's right. No, it's how it goes. But don't worry about it. Hopefully we'll make it through today's episodes.
Because we have some fun ones.
We do. Today's a big one. Tell them what we got.
Today is something that I personally been wanting to do for a while, but it's taken a bit because the company itself, the publishing company, hasn't made it to where we have enough for honorable mentions as well as 8 games to discuss.
Yep.
It's also a friend of the podcast. He was able to come on to our podcast, and actually we were able to interview. It's our best podcast on YouTube, but not our best audio, shockingly enough. Surprisingly, it's our top 8 debate of Arcane Wonders is our best downloaded podcast.
Weird.
Yeah, so there's that. But I'm looking forward to doing this one and seeing how it goes. This is the top 8 debate of Stonemaier Games. And we're talking about Jamie Stegmaier, who is one of the co-owners of the company. And he was a big supporter of us in the very beginning, so we're happy with that. And what's nice about this is not all of these are Jamie Stegmaier games. There's actually 3 games on here that are outside of his thing.
Yeah, still from his publishing company, but, other designers, which we'll highlight when we get to them. So, are you excited for this today top 8 debate?
Yeah, I'm excited to get into this, but let's get into it because we got 2 to record.
All right. So, what have you been playing lately?
So the first game I'm going to talk about is we're going to be talking about some heavier games and stuff like that. So let's talk about a small little fun game. And the one I'm going to talk about, you and I have both played it. You and I both look for this company as well. This is G.A.M.E.R Games Beach Bandits, designed by Michael and Lisa Eskew. I like this game. I enjoy it. It's probably middle of the pack for me when it comes to the Happy Camper stuff. I like what it does. I wish the art was a little bit better. You have some good art on the end goal cards, and I'll explain that here in a minute. But rest of it is really heavy text. Mm-hmm. What this game is about is we are greedy goals trying to raid the beach and stash a good food pile for ourselves. And my favorite aspect of this game is the give or take, because you play a card on your turn. You can either play it into your pile and get a okay power or nothing, or you could give it to somebody else's pile. One, you can actually end up messing up their power if they already have an ice cream and you give them another ice cream. That actually drops their points because it goes from 6 to 1 per card. So it's interesting how that one works, as well as, or you can give them something and get a really good power for yourself. It's like, oh, you can have these French fries. I get to draw 3 cards. Or, hey, you can have this, and I'm going to steal this from you. Or we're going to trade for 1 for 1 or something like that from this pile to that pile. And that's a way to get over there. You also have these fun cards that you can give to someone to give negatives. But what I like about this game is it has these end goal cards spelled G-U-L-L, and it's basically the C goals, and they give you special powers. They're either going to give you something where an in-game scoring, so if you have the most of something, or it turns your negatives into something, or it's going to give you an in-game power, like being able to draw 3 from the top of the deck and put 1 into your a scoring pile, or steal one from another player's hand because they're not going to score them those cards. So I like that aspect of it as well. It's a really interesting game. I think it's a fun little filler game. It has a perfect place in my collection just because it's like I play a lot of heavy games, and it's sometimes. And I remember the first time we played this, we played a massive heavy game, and we were like, we just need to play some dumb card games now because that thing really broke our brains.
Yep.
So yeah, it has a perfect place in this world. I like everything they are coming out with it. Beach Bandits from Happy Camper Games and designed from Michael and Lisa Eskew.
Cool. The first one I want to talk about is kind of an older game. I believe it's from Yellow. I don't remember exactly what, if it is or not. But it's called Rip Off. And the idea of this game is really simple. You have a paper dollar bill.
I know what you're talking about then.
Yeah. It's a wild, silly little game. But you have this paper dollar bill. A blue-orange. That's where it's from.
Mm-hmm. And
everyone gets a single one of them. And that is considered your $100 of finances throughout the month. And every week you flip over 3 cards. And its week is around. And they have pictures on them. Like one will be like a scooter. One will be like a thing of ice cream. One will be like... I don't know, just like a washing machine, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you have to tear off physical pieces of this piece of paper dollar bill that you must cover at least 2 of the items. So you need to make it big enough so you know for sure it's covering at least 2 of them. But here's the catch. Why don't you just tear off a big old piece? Well, as you're playing those, first off, if you cover up all those items, that is then discarded, those pieces, and you have whatever is remaining physical space-wise of the remaining of your dollar is what you continue with into the next round. If you do not have a big enough piece to cover up 2 of the 3 symbols, then you're eliminated and last person standing wins because you've saved the most money. So by ripping off pieces of this dollar bill, it's effectively you're spending or potentially overspending your money for these bills or these obligations in a really silly concept. What makes it even funnier though is let's say you cut off a piece and it's just slightly too small for one of the 2 pictures you're going for. So it only covers 1 or even 0 because a little corner of it sticks out. Well, you just wasted it. Throw it away. Try again with whatever bill you have left. Oh my goodness, I love this. You're tearing apart a component, but it's like a $12 game and it had 400 sheets of these dollar bills. And there's no reason you can't play with paper money, like toy money, whatever.
Or a Monopoly money. You just
Monopoly
give them multiple of those dollars.
Yeah, exactly. Just print out a sheet of paper, right? Whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the funny thing is, I remember I have this in-joke with my friend group that we're talking about how it's ridiculous how Magic the Gathering is essentially just deciding how much everything is. By making it functionally better in the game. Where it's if I buy this card versus this card from Magic the Gathering, this one's an $80 card, this is a 25-cent card. There's no production difference in that. And so, we have this ongoing joke. It's it's all just, all these cards are worthless anyway until you exchange them for money. They're not money itself.
Yeah.
And then, so I told him, I was like, next time we play Rip-Off, let's just open up a pack of booster card or a pack of Magic cards, shuffle them up without looking at it. We each get 2 face down, and let's just play the game. And let's just see and winner gets to keep whatever cards are left over.
Okay.
And that stressed them out so bad.
Yeah, well, the thing is, with Magic the Gathering, it's not even Magic the Gathering making this one card better than that card. Maybe the power is better or something like that for, competitive play.
Yeah.
It's the people that are making it this inherent $20 booster pack or whatever.
Yeah, it's worth a piece of cardboard. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Functionally, that'd be funny if we just played it with Magic cards.
Yeah.
And then winner keeps whatever cards are remaining, but you don't get to look at them until the game's over. That bothered them so much. And it was fun. I was rage baiting them a little bit, I was like, all right, fine. If you don't want to do that, next time we'll just play with
There's video of you making my wife cry, so I'm not surprised.
It has never been released.
There's still video
on the internet. It still exists, so you're right.
All right, the last game I'm going to talk about today, and like I said, we're just going to power through this. This is a game we both played online. We both fell in love with it, and we both bought physical copies of it on different days from the same store. This is from Repos Production, a Jonathan Favre Godel and Corentin Lebrant design Spooky Tower.
Yes.
Yeah. I love this game.
It's great.
It's such a small package game that works really well. All you're doing is rolling 2 dice, a la Machi Koro or Space Base. You're either buying a card out of a thing or you're activating all of that number. And you can choose what you want to do. You can activate. If I roll a 1 and a 3, I can activate it as a 1, I can activate it as a 3, or I can activate it as a 4 together. Yep. And I like that aspect. I like the fact that the 12 is a really good card, but how often are you going to roll 12?
Right.
I like how the 1 is a really good, somewhat okay card, but it's not going to give you much points because there's a possibility you have 2 chances of rolling a 1.
Yep.
So it's interesting how that works. I like what it does. It looks really good. The artwork is great. The component quality is fantastic for such a simple game.
Yep.
Other than the cards will stick to each other the first time you get it out because they have like this glossy finish on them that make it look like they're photos because you're basically ghost hunters trying to capture ghosts. And you can win of 2 ways. You either collect an entire shard, and the only way you get the shard is you manipulate the clock.
Yep.
Which is 3 pieces for the shard. Or you get 5 ghosts, if I remember ghosts, and there's a possibility you can get pets who are also ghosts.
Yep.
So they count for your ghosts.
But they might not always be loyal to you.
Yeah, so they might go somewhere else. But yeah, it's a fantastic game, and it plays so quick. It's like 20 minutes, really, and that's with the teach. Yeah. It's just you roll these dice, all these cards come up, and then you trigger them however you want to do it at that point in time. So Spooky Tower, Jonathan Favre Godal, Corentin Lebrun, Repos Production.
And the last game I'm going to talk about today, speaking with playing Rip-Off, I showed it to my friends, and when I explained Rip-Off to them...
So you ripped them off, is what you're saying?
I ripped them up. As I was explaining to it, I was like, yeah, you're physically going to tear the pieces off of the dollar bill. Their eyes lit up, because I know they like stuff like that. They're, oh, that's amazing. So I was like, okay, we're going with this theme. I have a Shelf of Shame game that's also about tearing stuff. So let's bring that out. So I brought Terrible Quest by
I was going to say, did you bring that? I
did.
knew you were the only one that had that.
Yeah, I am the only one who had it. It's like a $10 game, and it works pretty well. You play over 3 rounds. The boss is always out. The monsters, there's 3 of 4 different monsters you could do. There's also some bonuses, which we didn't play. Yeah, I mean, the idea is you set a 2-minute timer, and you're trying to tear off pieces that show only exactly what's shown. So it might be like 2 skeletons and a sword. But the next level up, you might want to show 3 skeletons and a sword, or 4 skeletons and a sword. Either way, you're still going to keep going. You're still going to keep doing it, and you're still trying to get exactly that shown. The problem that I had with it, though, is the way the maps are set out. Everything's kind of evenly distributed, and there's ways to get points on the back. It seems like it's a little too obvious and less fluid. So it's more just who can tear along the lines the quickest. It was okay. I don't know what I'd rate it. Maybe a 6 or a 7. Maybe. Maybe.
You're doing that on purpose.
No, I mean that genuinely. I don't know what ranking I'd put it, but like right now it's a 6. I don't know if it's going to jump to a 7, but I do definitely appreciate that they were willing to go into that. Maybe it's better with like multiple players or stuff. There's no interaction whatsoever. It's just a timer, and then you compare and you score accordingly. So that was Terrible Quest by All Play.
All right. Well, with that being said, that's what we've been playing lately. But let's get into today's fantastic episode, a top 8 debate of Stonemaier Games. And there's some heavy hitters on this list.
There is.
And we mentioned it on the failed one. There are a couple of games that are not on our list, and I'll explain why. One, you haven't played Expeditions, even though it's in the Scythe world. That would have been eliminated anyways.
Yep.
2, Finspan and Wormspan are similar to Wingspan. They're derivatives of them. Yep. Wingspan is the higher rated one, so they're out. Yep. As well as I personally decided to kick Charterstone out because I haven't played enough of it really to make a sound argument because of its legacy style. I've only played the first 2 scenarios of it.
Right.
So it's hard for me to make a sound argument when it comes to this. So I kicked it out. But other than that, we've played all of these. Some are a little easier to remember than others. I'm more of a Stonemaier person than you are.
You are.
Damn it, Dom is also more of a Stonemaier person than you are. So maybe I should have invited him on this podcast.
Maybe. I mean, well, so here's the thing, right? Like, I respect the designs. I like most of the games. I like it when he reprints stuff. There's some really good stuff.
He's got, what, Funforge stuff now too.
Yeah,
and then
some of those.
One of them on our list is older than his company.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's just I have a respect for him and his company. I just don't always. It doesn't always hit with my games.
Plus, he also helped us out on our podcast, so
sure,
you gotta have a little more.
I have a big bias for him. Like I very much respect his company, and I hope he does well. It's just his games aren't my style.
Yeah, what's funny? It's like it's still our best YouTube video ever. I think we have like 700 views or something like that on there. Not our best audio side.
Yeah.
Arcane Wonders, Top 8 Debate was our best audio side. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting what things go on here, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it also because he actually promoted our episode.
He did, yeah.
So,
which is really cool of him. All right. Well, are you ready to get into today's debate?
Let's tell them what our 1 through 8 is first.
All right. So our 1 through 8, our number 1, Scythe.
Which is designed by Jamie Stegmaier himself, going up against our number 8 seed, Euphoria, a better dystopia, which is also designed by Jamie Stegmaier.
And from this point on, we will only be referring to it as Euphoria to make it easier.
Yes.
Number 2, Wingspan, designed by Elizabeth Hargrave.
Yeah, you better remember that one. Versus our number 7, Libertalia, the Winds of Galecrest. From this on, we'll just call it Libertalia, designed by Paulo More.
Then we have our number 3 seed, Viticulture Essential Edition.
Jamie Stegmaier. Versus number 6, Apiary, designed by Connie Vogelman.
Then we have our number 4 seed, Vantage, designed by Jamie Stegmaier.
Going up against our number 5 seed, Tapestry, also designed by Jamie Stegmaier. This bracket right here is your bracket. Yeah. I mean, you like another game on this list, for sure. But this is your 2 favorite, or like your top 5 of his, basically. 2 out of the top 5. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I like this bracket for you.
Yeah, and we also posted it on the Board Game Revolution group on Facebook as well, so you guys can vote for your answers. The way we do this is quite simple. We take our gamer criteria, and we find the top 8 games from a publisher, company, whatever, and we find the highest ranked games based on what you and I have both played. So these were the 8 highest ranked that we just said right there. Some of them just didn't rank high enough, or either one or both of us haven't played yet.
Yeah.
Or they're only me.
Or they're too similar.
Or they're too similar
in the same
so
realm.
So we're not talking because that. Then we'll break it down with our gamer criteria, which breaks down into game immersion. Is the game interesting to lose or fun to lose? Is there player interaction, such as table talk, role-playing? And finally, the memorable moments. Those moments that make you stand up and cheer.
And then the next one is going to be one of the hardest ones we have to talk about. The art and production, the A&R gamer criteria. The art, the pieces and components, and the graphic design. Because that's one thing they don't skimp on, is the pieces and components and graphic design. Nope. There's been some issues, but that game's not on our list.
Right. Then we have meaningful choice, which is the impact on other players. Their depth of strategy, tactics, and or skills. And do arbitrary choices or AP negatively impact the gameplay?
We have taken a page out of Sesame Street. E is ease of play, simplicity and familiarity of the mechanism, likelihood to get to the table, i.e. through the mechanism or theme, and is it easy to learn, understand, and or teach.
And finally, the R in our gamer criteria is replay value. That's length of time and scaling well, minimum number of plays for the full experience, and expandability, whether it's confirmed by the publisher or designer.
And that's going to be another tough one, because if there's another thing that Stonemaier does, he supports his games.
Yep.
It is. I think every single one of these, except for maybe one, has at least one expansion.
Yep.
So,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. But we also allow our voters to add their favorites in here. And then we have a couple jokers in here that I'm going to point out. I always say, in or add your favorite and tell us why. William put your favorite because, being a joke. And then someone else put his favorite, and it was just Twilight Imperium, which is not a Stonemaier game. So, thanks a lot, James.
James. That is funny, though. Genuinely. All right, let's talk about the honorable mentions from both ourselves and the viewers online. First off, Michael added Wormspan, and again, like we explained why we did not include that in our list.
Yeah. Next, he also added Finspan, which, same reason, didn't get on our list, but it is a fun one. I think that is the best one, other than Wingspan, just because I like the theme better in Wingspan. But
sure.
The simplicity of Finspan and how easy it is to jump into that one, I think, makes it one of the best.
Cool. And then he also added Expeditions.
We'll talk about that later. He also added Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, which is a fun one. I like the concept of this one in Between Two Cities, where you're working with two people at the time. So it's interesting.
Yeah, Demeter, forgive me if I mispronounce your name, added Rolling Realms.
Another one I really like. I like the concept of this one because of how it started. He created it during the pandemic, just something to do, and it's tied to all his games and now his outside games as well.
Yep.
And then Nathan added Pendulum. This is the one we're talking about with the graphic design was a little much.
Yep, a little bit much. Davin added...
I think that's Davin.
Davin?
Yeah.
Davin, forgive me if I mispronounce it. Added Origin Story.
We'll talk about that here in a little bit. My personal favorite one that got added here by Paul Solomon, again, is Stamp Swamp. And why I say that full name is because he is the designer of that specific game.
Yeah. It's a good reason.
That's the second time he's done that to us.
Which is hilarious. He just needs to rank higher so we can include it. It was like, hey, Paul, why don't you come on to the podcast? All right, and then we'll talk about our honorable mentions. You ready?
We got comments.
Oh, comments. That's right. Brian said, Viticulture has always been among my top 3 games of all time. Love the theme and love the strategizing of the workers, especially of that Grande worker.
Lowell adds, Viticulture is a top-tier worker placement game, simple enough to play, deep enough to have lots of options. Scythe never felt fulfilling to me. I can't put my finger on why. Wingspan would be my number 2 on this list.
Cool. Benji added, Tapestry is so underrated in my opinion. It's just a fun dopamine ride with paying this, gaining that, or gaining this, gaining that, getting a new building, I can't read his stuff, filling a new district, gaining resources, which he did spell wrong. So, I mean, my defense, triggering my civilization, etc.
Except for you stumbled like the first 4 words of this sentence.
Fine,
Matt added so many good ones, but my favorite is Scythe. I dig an area control game where violence is an option, but not always a good one. And I think that is clever.
Yep. Jan Mitska, we don't normally pronounce last names, but failure on my end. My apologies. Said, played only Tapestry and Scythe. Scythe wins heavily. Tapestry is fun, but in a way, it was way too random. We had to house rule a few things, like when getting a new Tapestry or a Civ card, you draw 2 and keep 1. This helped a lot of the predictability of how a move will be beneficial, or if at all, like M12 field near the end of the game, etc. Scythe is better in its mechanics, yes, learnable and optimizable to oblivion after hundreds of games, but that is fine by me. Additions to it are great. Titans in the Sky, alternate ends, goals, etc. are great, and most importantly, Rise of Fenris. That campaign adding 2 more factions, variable setup was fantastic. It led me, in fact, to buy a color and paint all my minis. Lovely stuff.
And we will say this, and we'll talk about it a little bit on Scythe itself, but we are actually going through the Rise of Fenris campaign at this moment, and I actually been enjoying it. The story is actually quite fun. David added, I've enjoyed every Stonemaier game I've ever played except one, Scythe. Viticulture, Apiary, and Between Two Cities are all top for me. Or Two Castles, sorry.
Spencer added Finspan because I like fish more than birds, but also because it's easier to get to the table than Wingspan because it's simpler and a little shorter.
Which I was talking about at the top. Speaking of which, we are recording this right after they dropped Wingspan Pocket. Yeah. Next, Mark added, another one for Viticulture. It's just been an evergreen for me and always enjoy it. Although I have played Tuscany a few times and know exactly what it adds, I still just play the base game at home a lot. And I think he's talking about original Viticulture because the Essential Edition took some stuff out of, or it was from Tuscany into Essential. Scythe, I like the action and mechanics, but I just don't enjoy it any more usual because of the way once you know the formula to win a few moves, so to speak, it's no longer fun. I haven't played Expeditions. I like Tapestry the most for its components and still enjoy the game when I play it, so it's up there too, as is Wingspan, which is probably the main reason I ventured into modern board gaming to the level I do now, and that was my first blind buy as it's based on something online to be pre-ordered and not necessarily already in game shops, and we've had this discussion. I was proven right again. I didn't get the other spans, but played Worm, and it just did nothing personally for me because I already had felt with Wingspan. But I do have most of Stonemaier game releases per the above linked and still clearly a favorite. Kudos to Rolling Realms. I load it up on nearly everything as a filler every now and then. Enjoy pulling that one out in Random Realm, a few to play.
All right, William said, There's a lot of fans for Stonemaier. William said, I have more Stonemaier games in my collection than any other publisher. Viticulture is probably my favorite to play. Wormspan is my favorite theme because I like dragons. Tapestry has my favorite components, and Scythe has some of my favorite art. Stonemaier Games has one of my favorite owners/designers.
And what's interesting, where he saw that Stonemaier has a lot of fans, this is actually one of our biggest vote getters for our top 8 debates.
Oh, yeah.
There's nearly 400 votes on this one.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, sadly.
Johan added, Viticulture. Thematic doesn't take forever. Sure, like every other game from Stonemaier Games, there's some addressed issues with Unbalanced. A lot has been solved already with Viticulture, but still, my honorable mention would be Scythe.
And then Michael added, Scythe has it all. The only issue is faction imbalance, but DOM, Duels of Moloch, yep, might solve some of that.
Chris said, Scythe is the game. It's got to be. Tapestry is super underrated, though, and could be really a lot of fun. Wingspan has brought so many people into the hobby, it cannot be denied. It's far from my favorite, but it's unfairly hated because how popular it is.
Scythe, Rise of Fenris. Oh, Craig said, sorry. Scythe, Rise of Fenris is one of my best campaigns I've ever played. Well paced, something happens every game. Felt like it was possible to win after each game.
He's never seen me play. I don't think I've won any one of those.
It's really only been Bryce
and Dom, yeah. Mickey, I'm just going to go with Mickey, so sorry. Wingspan, I just really like the vibe, adapting strategy on the fly. I see what you did there. And I've upgraded every possible thing about it, so...
And Stacy added, Wormspan because it is my first Stonemaier game, because it's my go-to when I want to de-stress after work, I'm assuming de-stress, for a quick solo game, and because everyone I've taught loves it.
Cool. And again, if you want to be part of the vote or tell us why you like something, go to the Board Game Revolution group on Facebook. We tend to put that post up there about once a month when we're about to do a topic debate.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you ready to get into our honorable mentions?
Yeah, let's get into our honorable mentions. You ready? I'll flip the coin of doom. Here we go.
All right, so my first honorable mention I'm going to talk about, it got mentioned a lot up there, and I'm going to get to a little more depth of it, is Finspan. And what I was saying about this one is that I like the fact that it's a lighter version of, I was going to say Wormspan. It is a lighter version of Wormspan. I could also talk about Wormspan, but Finspan is just a lighter version. It's easy to get through. We don't have to worry about the dice in the dice tray like Wingspan. You don't have to worry about how you're going to feed these fish or get these to trigger. It's like the cards that you draw are also the food that you feed your fish. And then you put them in your own personal discard pile, and there's ways that you can retrieve them back into your hand to play them out as fish. It's an interesting concept. I like the actually going down the depths with your diver and triggering actions that way. It's a beautiful game. I like birds more than I like fish, and I like fish more than I like dragons, even though I have a tattoo of a dragon on me. I love aquariums. Me and my wife go to aquariums all the time. So when I said Finspan, I'm like, I'm down.
Your tattoo of a dragon, you should put an aquarium over it.
Well, it's funny, the tattoo of the dragon that I have, I even call it it's not even a dragon because I have bigger tattoos on this side, so I call it my lizard on a pebble because it's supposed to be a dragon on the mountain. It's like that big that I got at 18 years old or something like that. So
lizard on a pebble.
It's a lizard on a pebble compared to my Buddha and my bear over here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so Finspan.
All right, my first honorable mention is Between Two Castles, and I really like. It's a clever idea that you're playing both into everybody's, both you and your adjacent opponent's sides. It's a minimum 2 players, but like it's really
no. Well, yeah, you can play 2 players, but it's minimum 3.
It's minimum 3 because it doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't work otherwise. But I like how you're trying to build this map. It's tiling for one. There's lots of scoring opportunities, and only the 2 players that get the highest score will be allowed to compete for the win.
Yeah,
and they compare their other score.
Yeah,
I love that idea. That's such a clever, fun idea. It makes drafting really valuable. It makes this cooperative nature of it really nice. Like, you want to have that self-balance. You want to be high enough to win, but also you don't want to neglect your other side. So I like it a lot. Between Two Cities.
Yeah, I was trying to look at my Between Two Castles, but I couldn't see the player count on there. You say cities
it's
or
like
castles?
2 to 7.
Because I think you originally said castles.
Oh, Between Two Cities.
Okay. Well, the Essential Edition now, they flat out say 3 to 7.
Yeah.
There is no 2-player variant on that one. Or they might be in the rule book, but it just says 3 to 7. Yeah. And then the next one I'm going to talk about is one that you haven't played yet, but I like this one. And I'm looking forward to Duel of Moloch. It's called Expeditions, which is in the same world as Scythe. It actually plays differently. Your mech in this one is basically exploring the map and revealing new stuff. I like the exploration on it. I also like the fact that it's a multi-use card game. And so you're using the cards for maybe better powers or as payment for a resource or using it for this ability or that ability. Or for the exploration part of it, it's like, hey, I need to spend a card. Okay, I really don't need this one. Let me discard this one. Now I can flip this tile, or I can gain this resource off this tile, or I can clear this corruption off this tile. And so it has a decent story going into it as well. It's like you found this new continent or land or something like that has been corrupted by a meteorite, and it's basically a race to the meteorite because it's doing some weird stuff. We're in an arms race with our mechs. So it's interesting what it's doing. But again, I'm always a sucker for multi-use card games, so Expeditions.
Cool. My second honorable mention is Origin Story. It's, we've been flooded with trick takers lately. This is a clever one. I do like the building on it. I think that makes it good. It doesn't take it too seriously, which is great. But overall, I think it's a really clever trick-taking game that works at different player counts. Some trick-taking games only work at very specific player counts. This one, it doesn't really matter. You're trying to play it off. Since you're gaining all these different abilities and all these cool ways to manipulate your cards, it will work regardless of the player count. Except for maybe one player. I don't know.
It has a solo on there. I haven't tried it, but...
I very much respect Morton, who I think is the designer of all the Automa stuff. Like, very clever systems. I don't know if I'd ever want to play a trick taker as a solo.
Yeah, I was looking at it. It is 1 through 5, so yeah. And so my last honorable mention is also an origin story, so I'm not going to belay it too much. Once again, it holds 1 to 5. I know it works really well from 3 and above. I played it at 3. I played it at 4. I haven't played it at 5. But it's fairly simple. I like the first part of of a turn is simultaneous, and then you play the trick-taking part of the things, and then you have special abilities. And I like the fact that we're playing a trick-taking game, and it has special abilities. That's what's neat about what this is doing. The art is give or take. I don't hate it as much as other people do, but I get what they're saying. I'd rather it be more comic book looky than this watercolor style. Sure. But I like what it's doing. I like the powers. I do like it's getting an expansion, which just gives us more hero and villain powers and stuff like that. I also like the thing is like, look at your hand and you're like, well, I'm not winning any of this. So you try to shoot the moon and become a villain. So I like that aspect of it too. This is a co-design by Jeremy Stonemaier and Paul Weisengout. Sorry if I mispronounced that name. It's a difficult name for me. Yep. But it is a fantastic worker placement game. Fantastic trick-taking game. It is one of the better trick-taking games that have come out recently. Yep.
And my last honorable mention is Charterstone, as you said earlier. I have played the entirety of the campaign. I think it's a really robust game. You've played it a couple rounds. It's a solid game. It works well. Out of almost every legacy game that you and I have played, like between us, it's probably the most robust of the actual game systems. It's not my favorite for theming or story-wise or the legacy part of it, but I appreciate the game itself.
It's really say,
solid worker placement.
I really do like that worker placement that I've played so far of it, where it's like, oh, I really need to go to that spot. I'm not blocked from that spot. I'm kicking your guy out of that spot. Yeah. Because it's kind of nice. I'm helping you out. You're getting your worker back, and I'm getting what I need. Right. Or I have to actually pull my people off as one of my actions. So I'm hoping someone bumps me off. Right. So I like that aspect of the game.
Absolutely. It's worth playing as the app more.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Other than like playing with other players, like because it's funner to play with other players. But either way, I don't think it's a terrible way.
I have friends. I'm telling you.
All right, let's get into today's episode.
So as always, when we do this, he's going to flip the coin of doom to determine who's going to go first. I'm going to pull from the cup of doom to determine what you're arguing. So there are some that we both want to argue about. There are some that you want to argue more than others, and there's some I want to argue more than others because of just memory. We're old.
Yeah, I'm old. I don't remember some of these. But all right, our first round is going to be Scythe versus Euphoria. Here we go.
I think Scythe would be the easiest one for us because we're currently actively playing
it, right?
And you get Scythe, so you're good.
Goodness, because I don't remember Euphoria. No, I remember Euphoria to an extent, yeah. But I do remember, of course, Scythe more. Scythe is let's throw up the 2-minute timer.
I was going to say, let me get the timer up. Hold on.
Yep. Scythe, there's a reason it is our #1 ranked game out of this. It is an action selection board upgrading mechanic. It is basically a 4X game, but you do not have to fight. You can explore, you can expand, you can exploit, but you don't necessarily have to exterminate, which is kind of a nod to that style.
Yeah.
Now, what makes this really clever is that you have an action board that has 4 different sections, has stuff like build or deploy robots or whatever movement, and it has a top and a bottom. The top is generally a smaller action you can take, and the bottom is something that you expend your resources that are placed on the board in order to do. When you take that action, you get both the top and the bottom of it, but assuming you could pay for the stuff. So the top part, I might be gathering resources. The bottom of it, I might be building something. And so after you take that action, you continue. The only rule is on your following turn is that you have to move your pawn, your action selector, to one of the other 3 remaining locations.
Mm-hmm.
So you will not be taking the same action more than once in a row. So you do have to kind of plan accordingly. Now, what makes this game interesting is, again, it has this map that you're going to be spreading out amongst. You're trying to be the first to get to like a certain number of star points or deploy out your star tokens by completing essentially objectives, right? You're either trying to get the most of power, or you're trying to get the most of this, or win combat, or complete certain objectives, or explore in a certain way. The first one who races to finish those first will trigger the end of the game, and then the most points from that wins. Overall, like, this is middle rung for me. I get why a lot of people love it, because it created a really smart action selection mechanism. My only problem with this is that every time that we seem to play it during the Rise of Fenris is that it's just kind of the same thing again and again, and we just kind of stay in our corners, and then one of us runs to the center of the factory, and that's about it. So that's my 2 minutes.
All right. I was doing some other stuff that I need to do for our thing, so let you get your argument.
I swear.
I'm not unprepared. Okay. I had to see what happened here on the vote.
I get it.
Yeah. I do like 10 times more work than you do for the podcast.
And yet you still didn't have time for this. Come on.
All right. Well, no, I needed the final vote.
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
All right. And I get to argue Euphoria.
That's right.
Euphoria does show its age a little bit. It is a fantastic worker placement game, sort of, but your workers are the dice, and you kind of want them at a lower value. They're not going to be very good workers for you, but they're also not realizing they're just good worker drones. They're not realizing what's going on, because whatever happens when you roll or use a 6, or I think it's a 5 or a 6, could be wrong, but they start realizing, oh, wait, this is not a utopia. This is a dystopia. And so you have to figure out if you're going to be able to keep that die later on or not. And so they can probably run away, and then you have to find a way to get them back. Now, I physically now have the Essential Edition. They did do an Essential Edition of it. So that is the one currently in print. So, but we are arguing regular Euphoria, which means that board is a little rough. It's cool what it does, because this works with here and this works with there, and it makes sense aspect on that board, but it's so busy, and you're sitting there like, if I go over here, but then I have the power over here, how does that work over here? And so it gets you a little bit on that, but the game itself is fun. It is a fantastic looking game. That board is not bad. The dice are cool. The component quality is through the roof. But again, it's Stonemaier. But this is early Stonemaier and how good that component quality was back then. I think this was like his second game ever.
Yeah.
And so it is a really fantastic game. And what I find funny is that his top 3 games made this list. Viticulture was first, then it was this one, and Scythe. Those are the 3 big ones that started his company out, and all 3 are still fairly popular. But Euphoria is showing its age. That is why it's number 8. But I like what it does. The worker placement is fun. There is good, meaningful choice in it. I just don't know if it's going to keep going on, because it is showing its age.
All right. So, with that being said, do you know which one you...
I know which one I'm voting for.
All right. We'll count down. 3, 2, 1. Scythe.
Like I said, Euphoria is showing its age. I haven't tried the Essential Edition yet, but I don't think it changed much. I think it cleaned up the board a little bit where it makes more logistical sense, but it's much more bland. Think like Pendulum's board.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, I mean, again, it's cool. It has such a funny theme.
Yeah.
More so than the gameplay actually brings out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only bad part.
All right, you ready to go into the next one?
Yeah, our next one is our number 2 seed Wingspan versus our number 7 seed Libertalia. And you'll be starting us off this time.
Shake up the coin or the cup. All right, and I'm starting?
Yes.
And you're going to be mad about this one.
You're starting Libertalia?
I get Libertalia.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll forgive you.
All right, so I get to argue Libertalia starting now. Libertalia is the older game that predates Stonemaier. So the one we're specifically arguing is Libertalia Winds of Gale-Crest, which is the full title. The anthropomorphic pirate, legally distinct from Treasure Planet kind of game.
Right.
But what this is neat is that you get cards of your color, and everybody has the same cards. And one person is going to shuffle up his deck, and he's going to randomly draw a certain amount of cards, and he's one that's going to dictate what everybody's using. So if he draws these cards up, everybody draws those specific cards out of their deck, and that's what you're going to be using. And what's neat about this is I love the way the mechanism aspect of this game works, because I am going to play a card, and then on that track, determining which number I am playing, that card is going to be moving left to right and triggering. So the lower number is going to trigger first, then the higher number. But then there's going to be a second phase where if they have I think it's like Dusk Power or Twilight Power or something like that, they're going to be going in reverse order. And if there is a tie, whoever is the most honorable pirate gets to trigger their card first and the original track aspect of it. So if I'm the honorable one, I get to trigger first in Daylight, but if I'm a dishonorable pirate, I get to trigger first in Twilight. And I like that aspect of it too, and I like the fact that you go down, but that's also going to give you like benefits, because if I am triggering this way, then maybe I get first pick at the treasure that's in this little pool. And it's like, oh God, I don't want to be last, because maybe I'll get stuck with those curses over there, and I got to figure out a way to get them. And once that's all said and done, those cards are done. There may be a way you could possibly get them back. Maybe some of them will allow you to keep them around, but most of the time they may be going into your pirate graveyard. You just don't know how that's going to trigger per se. And I like the aspect of this game. I like that it's a little bit brighter than the original one. I just don't know if I like it more than the one you get to argue.
All right. You always end on such a concise note. I'll give you props for that.
You ready?
Yeah, let's go. All right, Wingspan is the one I'm going to argue for, which, I mean, arguably brought so many people into the industry. There's no denying its impact on the industry. But we're arguing specifically our gamer criteria. And while it's undeniably how beautiful this game is, this is a really clever little engine building game. And first, it put Elizabeth Hargrave on the map, which is the first like big name for female designers, which I gotta appreciate for that. Now,
also really put Nature Games.
Right, and Nature Games really kind of threw that into the list as well. But the way it works is quite simple. You're going to have a hand of cards. You're going to be paying for them with food that you'll be gathering from the dice. Now, as you're playing with them, you're going to be putting them onto your board, either in one of the 3 ecosystems, or whether it's water, plains, or like sky or grasslands or whatever. I forget what they are. Trees.
Forest, wetlands, grasslands.
Yeah, and so you're going to be putting them into these locations, and you're going to be running a system. Whenever you take a specific action on your turn, you're either going to play a card, gain some birds, or you're going to be gaining food tokens, or drawing more cards, or playing cards, or whatever, right? And you're going to be playing these out, one of those 4 actions, but then you get to trigger every bird that is in that row. That leads to some really clever combos, like certain birds might allow you to draw more cards, or do things more efficiently, or even tuck other bird cards underneath those for points, or get eggs, which is a valuable resource to pay for other things on top of it. Now, again, like what a lot of people were saying on our honorable mentions is that they like it, they appreciate it, but they have replaced it with either the Dragon Span or Fish Span, which I know is not their actual names, but they've replaced it because they either want more meat to it or they want something more accessible. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's showing its age, but technically it is, right? Because of a lot of times it is. Now, that's saying it very loosely because I know this is still by far their most selling game.
I was going to say, the highest selling game in
Stonemaier history. I'm just saying, like, it's showing that there's all these different ways to get into it.
I was like, what?
And like, just because you want that system doesn't mean you have to get Wingspan, is what I'm saying. All right. With that being said, this is going to be a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I know which one I'm going to move on, but it's very close.
Yeah, I have one. Okay, let me double check this real quick. Because it's tough for me to decide which one gets this.
Like I said, I know which one I have picked based on our gamer criteria, but it's fairly close.
Yeah. Okay. I'm ready. 3, 2, 1. Libertalia. Yep. And I knew it was going to break down. And here's the big thing that I already know is going to be our biggest contention is the art and art and production.
Yeah.
That really is it. The only reason why I went with Libertalia over Wingspan, the art I give to Wingspan, I give it that. I appreciate how
people created an art book.
I get it. The components are also really good quality, right? In both of the games. But the pieces and components, the biggest part about it is the graphic design of the cards, where they even had to reissue like larger fonts because it's really brutally small fonts on the first editions of Wingspan. I think, is that true for the later editions, or do they just have to have like a high visibility pack? I know they offered a high visibility pack.
Every game that you can buy that is like those card games, it's just high visibility packs, but they're all pretty much no. Now from now on, you can order it differently, but you can order a high visibility version of the game.
Oh, okay. But yeah, because originally it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
And it had a little bit of just tiny fonts and a lot of tiny information on it, which made it harder for people
especially all the old. And that's the reason he was realizing a lot of the older people coming in. That's why he
which again I appreciate, but that wasn't the first edition where Libertalia hasn't had to have that. I like the pieces and components in there a little bit better in Libertalia, but I mean, again, it's so close, but that's the only reason I gave it to it.
So for me, the two that Libertalia get is Game Immersion and Ease of Play.
Oh, those are not my two.
Yeah, those are the two I gave.
Game Immersion, I agree.
For me, it's art production, meaningful choice, and replay value for Wingspan.
I gave meaningful choice to Libertalia. And I'll explain why.
Yeah.
I'll explain why, but go ahead.
The reason why I went Game Immersion is more fun in Libertalia, because you kind of feel a little bit more like a pirate. It's like, darn you, I'm not a very honorable pirate, but I get the trigger before you when it comes to treasures.
You don't get those chaotic moments. And that's like those stand-up moments on Wingspan.
That's why I went Game Immersion for Libertalia. Yeah, both games are fun to lose, so for me, that's a wash, because I have good time, and if my engine's firing really well on Wingspan, I get those memorable moments. It's just not as much as I get in Libertalia.
Sure.
And then the ease of play. Libertalia is by far one of the easier games out of the Stonemaier selection of games to teach, understand. It's basically you play a card, everybody has the same cards. It's that simple. One person is the one that shuffles his cards, draws up those numbers, and it's like, you just play one of those cards, and then we line them up in order based on if you play the same number wherever you're at on this track. It's not that much to pinpoint and how to teach that.
Right.
Compared to Wingspan, it's like, oh, you're going to do this, but at the start of the game, you have to draw this many cards and this many food, but if you want to keep this many cards, you got to get rid of that many food, that kind of thing. And so that is my issue with Wingspan. It's not a simple game to teach and for people to understand. Once people grok it, they adore it because that engine build is great. And like I always tell everybody, this is not a gateway game. This is a next step engine builder. If I'm going to start someone on engine builders, I'll go with Gizmos. Yeah. Wingspan, that's what I would move them up to after Gizmos. Sure. But that's why I don't give it ease of play. But the art and production, the art book was a whole thing. They had 3 great artists in Wingspan. The pieces and components, I mean, just those eggs out of the box that you get that have like the speckles on them. Mm-hmm. I like the birdhouse dice tower. I like the dice, the wooden dice with the beautiful screen print. Sure. More so that the fact that I had to replace a lot of stuff in Libertalia with better stuff. That's my issue, is just the tactile feel.
Right. I'm going to see if I'm not going to try and sway you, but I'll explain my reason why I picked Meaningful Choice for Libertalia, and I'll let you decide if you agree or not. But the reason I picked it is I think it's very clear Libertalia has more meaningful choice. For one, impact on other players. There is no player interaction in Wingspan. You are effectively playing solo, except for like majorities at the end, like for the objective, or like the little round markers. But like whether I draft a card with that, right?
I give it to the other two.
The other thing is depth of strategy, tactics, or skills. Both of them, only Wingspan has random on random. You draw random cards. So, I mean, other than what's on the display, you pull the display. Sure, I give it that. But a lot of times you'll be drawing off the deck, right? Mm-hmm. To get. Plus, on top of that, you're beholden to the dice rolling of the food, which is why it's not in any other version of the Span games. They don't do random food anymore. That's random upon random. Just because I get the card I want doesn't mean I can get the food that I want. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's a 2-to-1, but that means I'm doing twice as much work for you that just got something randomly more. But secondly, arbitrary choices. Every card is totally different, which is charming and it's wonderful and it's great for that part, but that's not helpful if you're trying to play the same game. Whereas Libertalia, you pick random cards, but everyone gets those deck, and it's the timing that you play.
Totally not swaying me on this one, just because.
I know you like when you start shaking your head through my explanation. My thing about it too, that it's obviously there.
There's the arbitrary choices.
I know it's going to be thrown under the bus for the vote, but I'm saying
I'm explaining why the arbitrary choices. There is some of that in there too, based on if I'm all the way down on the track, it's not going to score me any well. If the treasure that comes out of the treasure bag is all curse, everybody's getting a curse on there. And I've had a game where that's happened. So that's negative points. Yeah. So there is arbitrary choice in both of these games.
Right. No. The way the tokens lay out. No,
I can't say no, but you can say no problem.
I was shaking my head mid your argument. My reason is, yes, the tokens are there, but everyone has the same tools that you need to time correctly. Now, I know there's that priority track. I get that. Mm-hmm. But that goes into like the Princess Bride dilemma. It's like, we both have this card. I know that if we both play it, you're going to be ahead of me because you're higher up in that priority track. So I don't think I need to play this right now. But I don't need to play it right now because of that same logic. And you could play effectively because of it. And you can change your tactics based on what knowledge that we all have. So I think it's without a doubt. So clearly you're not budging.
And clearly you're not budging, so...
Well, you haven't convinced me that it's more random.
You wouldn't let me get a thought out, so...
Go ahead. Explain why Wingspan is more meaningful.
We're going to go to the vote, because I'm not delaying this anymore.
All right. See, that's when you don't have an argument. All right, but Wingspan moves on.
You wouldn't let me make my argument.
There's no timer clock on this. You have the mouse. You get to decide how long we talk.
That's why I was like, nope, we're just going into the vote, which...
Okay. Well, Wingspan moves on.
Oh,
yeah, what? I know. Like, there's not even a.
Oh, yeah, I did write that down. That is crazy. I thought it would. Wow. Honestly, I'm shocked that number 8 has more votes.
Yeah. I know Libertalia is the hated one, but I'm a fan of Paulo Mori.
I like Paulo Mori a lot. And I actually like Libertalia. Winds of Galecrest. Let's get that right.
Be clear. Yeah. No. Yeah, I don't know. So Wingspan moves on.
Did I already put it in there? Yeah.
All right. Our next round will be Viticulture Essential Edition versus Apiary.
You better hope I pull Apiary. Huh? You better hope I pull Apiary.
Yeah, I don't remember how to play Apiary.
I give Viticulture.
Okay, cool.
See? Look. There you go.
No, I believe you. Go ahead. I'll argue for bees in space. That's cool.
That's such a random theme at that.
It is.
I like it, but that's a random theme.
Great theme.
All right, I get to argue Viticulture Essential Edition. Viticulture Essential Edition is a worker placement, as our chat or our group was talking about earlier on the post. And it's a good worker placement game. And what's interesting is Apiary is also a worker placement game, so it is worker placement versus worker placement. What I like about what Viticulture does, it gives us the Grande worker. So I am not completely blocked out of a spot. I just have to use my big guy for it and muscle his way in there. So if I really need to get some grapes to plant in my field, then that works for me. This way I can start crushing them and stuff like that. The big thing about this game, especially just base Viticulture, which is the Essential Edition base game, you're playing 2 parts of the map. The spring is your wake up time and your reward basically for wherever you're waking up on that track. Then you go, it's the spring, because it's in the summer you get the plant, then in the fall you're drawing cards, and then in the winter you're doing other stuff. You have 2 distinct worker placement spots, but you only have so many worker placement characters to do. So that's what I like about it, is like, do I go all in the summer aspect of the game, or do I wait and save some over for winter for me to work on there? And then some of those spots also have special rewards if you're the first one in that location. Some of those spots have multiple spots where we can go into. You're either drawing cards or you're playing cards. It has a lot of choice. My big issue with Viticulture is that it can go long. But a lot of these Stonemaier games can go long. I think Libertalia is probably one of the quicker ones out of this list. This is On average, with new players, you could be playing for about 2 hours. If you add but what I like about it too, the mamas and papas actually help mitigate and give you an idea where you want to go. They're going to give you special powers, maybe a little bit more money. It's like, oh, you get this worker, you get that worker. There's quite a few just components that you can add to the game differently. So I like what Viticulture does. It'll be interesting to see how you argue apiary.
There we go.
You ready?
Yeah. Apiary, bees in space. That is about the most memorable part of this game. That is a wonderful theme. I absolutely love it. And the components are fantastic too, because each of your beastronauts, is that what they call them?
I think so. I think so.
Something like that. Each of your workers that you're placing out has 4 sides to them, and that kind of explains their strength, if you will. Or their age, or however you would want to describe it. But it's their power, right? And so you have the numbers 1 through 4, and depending on what side they're laying on, that is how powerful they are. It could have been done with dice. In fact, I bet the original probably was. But that's regardless of the point. These are bees that are going through space. Now, why are the bees going through space? Because J.A.M.E.R said so. And, which is, again, a really clever idea. Great theme. And the art is absolutely fantastic. However, here's where the game kind of crumbles, and this is from my experience. I haven't played it in a long time, and nor have I wanted to, because I remember very distinctly when I played this, I got completely locked out of like possibly getting any of the hexagons that could get, and I mean like it was really obvious every time I'd be like, all right, now I finally have something I can go for these like objectives.
Mm-hmm.
One of you guys would take it before me,
with a higher number.
With a higher number. It's like, cool. Okay, well then I guess I'm not getting that anymore. And then, so the answer to that is like, all right, we'll prepare for when a big one does come out, you can get it. Well, that doesn't exactly work that way, because we're all building up, and because I'm not getting anything else on top of that, or I'm shooting blindly, I don't have reasons to prepare for anything specific. It was a bad taste in my mouth. I love the theme, and I wanted to love this game. I really did. I very much respect the design. I was taken so far out of it that I don't think it's... I can't give it any of these. Plus, it is more complicated than Viticulture. It's not as replayable. Viticulture has way more editions. Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's all
I knew you were going to talk about like getting hosed over in certain sections of it. Yeah. I will mention this about apiary. It has a really cool thing is like when your bee is going to retire, like in Dystopia, Euphoria, it goes into hibernation, and once it goes into that, you get to trigger an ability, and that's the track.
Sure.
To trigger the end game kind of thing.
Sure.
That has an interesting aspect of it. But I knew you were going to like, as all I remember is I got hosed in this one.
Out of almost every Stonemaier game, this is probably like my least favorite.
I don't disagree with you.
I can't think of any that I think would be lower.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think for me, there is my vote. I know what I'm giving, so we'll see.
Okay. All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, Viticulture. Yeah.
I do give art and production to apiary. The bees are really neat. Yeah. The big giant bee that's pretty cool. The tiles are really nice.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic art, but yeah, it's a 4 to 1.
Graphic design isn't even better though. There's really small fonts on like some of those hexes.
Yeah, it's not that bad. And this is coming from someone that wears cheater glasses. All right, so we're saying Viticulture is moving on. All right.
All right, we're going into our final round of the quarterfinals, which is Vantage versus Tapestry. I already wrote down Viticulture. I wrote that down long ago. No bias against it. I mean, I'm sure Connie Vogelman is a wonderful designer, a wonderful person.
You're the only one that has a bad taste in your mouth. Everybody else
because I was the one who got hosed. Yeah, I mean,
get good.
Yeah, get good. Sure. Yeah,
you're a board game designer. Get good.
It totally wasn't my random chance that made me lose.
You were second in the turn at the beginning of the game.
So that was the beginning of the game, and it was all snowballed after that. No, it was unpleasant to sit through. It really was. All right,
this is yours.
Vantage versus Tapestry. Here we go.
All right, I get to start. Vantage.
Okay.
And then the timer is going to start now. Vantage, man, we have talked a lot about Vantage, and if I remember correctly, this also won our 2025 Game of the Year, if I remember correctly. Man, this game is so good. It's massive though. It is. It's got some interesting artwork style. A lot of reading. So if you are someone that has reading disabilities and stuff like that, either get the digital app that helps you read. There's like a digital implementation where it reads to you. I forget what they use. It. There's an app. Go look online. I forget what it's called, but they do have it. But there is like 8 books in there, like 800 cards that all have script on them. So if you're complaining about that, I know you're going to be complaining about it here soon for this one. So let's get it out. But what Vantage is an open world game. And there's one inherent flaw in Vantage for me. Just one. And that is I never want to finish the game because I want to explore so much more in it. That is the problem of an open world game. It gives you the ability like, hey, go look at this cool thing over here, or trigger what could give you the end game kind of thing. And it has that problem, but it's not really a big thing for me. It's like, yeah, I didn't succeed on this game. Most games are inherent to try to win the game, but I like the storytelling in this game. I like what it's doing. I like the look of this game other than just rolling some dice and doing some checks, but the cards are gorgeous. I love being able to go through these stories. I like the fact that a solo game of this works just as well as a 4 or 5 player game of this. It just will go long, so be aware of that. This game is by far one of my favorite, if not my top 2 or top 3 when it comes to Stonemaier Games. But out of my gamer criteria, I still think it holds its own because 1, it's gorgeous. 2, it is a fun game to lose. My only issue with this too as well is when you're trying to teach the game, it is vague in the rulebook for reasons, and you have to explain that to people. All right, you ready for Tapestry?
Sure am. All right, Tapestry was one of the first games I really enjoyed from Stonemaier Games. I really like track movement, even though this is technically a civilization game. You are moving up 4 different tracks, and you are building off those. Some of those tracks let you get a big thing, but you have to pay kind of a small thing. And to plan accordingly, you need to get other small things, which might mean move up other tracks. And so there's a lot of cool engagement. You're moving amongst this map. You're trying to settle the areas, harvest its resources, kind of like a 4X game. But again, like unlike Scythe, for example, which is the other 4X games that I argued earlier, this one is all about building that civilization. On top of all of that, you have super cool asymmetry where your boards, your player mats, all work in pretty significantly different ways, and they're all super asymmetric, which is cool. The production on it is really high quality. The buildings are really nice, with one small caveat that I'll explain later, if it gets that far. But they even added like this cool texture so that way your pieces don't slide around those little mini maps. I remember that distinctly.
I was wondering
the
when you were
board
going
is
to
a
mention
little bland, but it doesn't matter because the iconography is very clear. It is so concise and it works really well. It's fairly easy to learn. In fact, I think it's probably I would say it's the second easiest game to learn. Only second to Vantage, which is the one he argued. So that makes it a little trickier.
If that's the case, Libertalia is easier.
We're not in the debate right now. Sir, this is my time. Anyway, so as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted.
Because you forgot Libertalia.
Restart the clock. No, I still disagree with you. Restart the clock. No, I have no much more to say. I mean, other than just, I love the asymmetry involved with it. I love how you're building out these maps on your grid, and there's a lot of agency because of how you move up that. You would think that the 4 tracks that aren't modular would have an issue of going stale after a while, but because of your player abilities and your goals and your objectives and how you manage everything, that replayability is paramount.
I will also say this, just to reclaim a little bit of your time. I like how the tracks play off each other, the ones that are opposite of each other. But yeah, I agree with you. The tactile, I did find a problem with Tapestry with those things. Mm-hmm. One of my friends in my other group cannot stand that grippy stuff. And she doesn't like the tactile of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's like, fair. You're the first person that gave me that argument, but yeah, I get it.
I get it. Yeah. And, honestly, the only real problem with the components in Tapestry is that the building tiles are a little bit smaller than the spaces, so it gets a little weird when
people 3D print something for it and stuff like that.
It's kind of weird, but, it's a thing.
Yeah, this one is kind of tough for me.
I do know which one I think should move on. It's actually pretty clear in my mind.
I think I know which one I'm voting for to move on, but this is actually tougher than I thought it was going to be.
Okay. You let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Vantage. Yep. And it almost got a 4 to 1 for me. It ended up with a 3 to 3 that because it's easier to play. It's game immersive. It's super there's no player interaction, but there's not really that much player interaction. But there's enough.
There's enough we can talk through
in that. But yeah, I mean, mostly it's theater of the mind, right? The art and productions is fantastic. I don't think there's anything bad with the production at all with Vantage, but there is some slight component problems with whatever with Tapestry. The only thing I gave it for sure was meaningful choice. Tapestry has way more meaningful choice than Vantage, but even replay value, it was tough. The reason it didn't get replay value for Vantage is because it really doesn't scale well. It is so obnoxiously long at 4 or more players. It is like you're spending an entire evening playing it. And now, granted, it's so immersive, you probably will go by quick. But if you have one player who's not having fun because they're just like, it's kind of arbitrary, then...
My thing is, like, Tapestry is not short either. So that's why I gave...
It's not short, but it's way longer for...
For me, I gave art and production to Tapestry. Because it just has better stuff.
Well...
and then I also gave it meaningful choice. Though I will also make a note on Tapestry as well, is that arbitrary choices are in there because there was a lot of issues just base out of the box that every expansion they gave you new reworked characters and stuff like that, and he was having a sheet. And so there was some issue when it comes to...
He technically printed a full set of the game so he could play test it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Technically, right?
Something like that. Way. So I did give it that, but the impacting of others, there's a lot more impact on other people, and as well as the depth, strategy, and tactical skills. You could do one thing and go all into like electronics or stuff like that into inventions. Whereas Damn It Dom can go all into military, and you both still have a good chance of winning the game. So I like that aspect of it, and that's why I gave it meaningful choice.
Sure.
Replay value, I'm fine with Vantage on the length and time scaling well, because I played a 4-game play of Vantage, and I played a 4-game of Tapestry, and they're roughly around the same time. They both took about 3 hours. So there is that. Minimum number of plays for the full experience.
That's
Vantage.
Yeah, easily.
So I was like, length of time scaling well. Yeah, it's fine. There is 2 expansions for for Tapestry, but like length of time is scaling well. I gave that to Vantage. There's no problem with that. It either or, and I'd rather the length of time in Vantage because you're at least hearing a story the whole way through. Sometimes in Tapestry, it feels like it's 3 hours. Every time I've played Vantage, it doesn't feel like it's 3 hours.
That's fair.
So yeah, that's how I went with that. But yeah, so Vantage moves on. So let's talk about the games that got eliminated. Euphoria, which was an 8 seed that eliminated by Scythe, it had 2% of the vote. Next up was Libertalia, the number 7 seed, which had the lowest vote on our board at 1%. Yeah, there's no love for that.
They just don't like it because it's not Pirates of the Caribbean. Dirty,
that's the thing, is they're all mad about that. Yeah, I don't get it. My wife likes this one compared to the original cover because it reminds her of Treasure Planet, which is like one of her favorite underrated Disney movies. Next up, we had Apiary, which is our 6th seed. So looks like all our top 4 seeds move on.
Yep.
All right, so Apiary had 5% of the vote. And then finally, Tapestry, our number 5 seed, got eliminated with, where are you at? 6% of the vote.
Yep. So that's pretty in line.
Yeah, so and there's a reason why these are the top 4 Stonemaier games, so I'm not surprised on that. However, there is a big thing going on. These are the top 4 for a reason, and they are about to duke it out.
Here we go. So we have our number 1 seed Scythe versus our number 4 seed Vantage for the semifinals.
Starting with me, and this is going to be interesting for me.
Yep. You like both of them.
Yep. Come on. There we go. I get Vantage. You get Scythe.
Yep. And
here we go. All right, Vantage is, again, like I was mentioning the first time, it's basically the magnus opus for Jamie Stegmaier. He had been working on this game for years. In fact, he recorded a whole video about his shelf that he was doing, but he had to wait till he finally released it. And he recorded that, in 2021 in his old apartment or something like that? It was quite interesting. That's how big and long he was working on it, and you can see why. This thing is massive. I have not seen the same card, and I've played this like 4 times so far, and I've enjoyed every minute. I played it twice solo, and I played it twice in groups, and enjoyed every minute of it. Funny enough, when I was speaking earlier how we were talking about doing something for my birthday towards the end of this month of August, because me and Gamehead Geek's birthday fall in the back end of August, this is the game we played on our birthday last year. This is the first game, and I thoroughly enjoyed what it was doing, and I've played it 4 times since then. It's not an easy game to bust out. It is a massive game. There is a lot of digging, trying to find the cards that you need, but oh my god, this game it is so fun. This is, when people talk about like playing a D&D style, RPG style kind of game for like that storytelling aspect, this is one out there that gives you that storytelling aspect without having the need of a DM. And that's what I like about this is science fiction that's done really well. I could see the Breath of the Wild look that he was giving it. The artwork is fantastic. The pieces and components are fine. There is an upgrade pack if you have a possibility to get it that just makes it easier to keep track of your personal player character and all the stuff that you have, because you have to do a 3x3 grid, and your player character in the middle. So basically, you're missing like 8. You get 8 cards to trigger, and I just like that component quality. It just makes it easier and not everything sliding. But man, this game is big for a reason. I really do enjoy this one. Vantage.
Okay. I'm ready for Scythe.
And go.
All right.
And go.
And for reals this time.
Yeah.
Scythe, yeah, like I said before, Scythe has this brilliant action selection mechanism. I've already belabored that point. Again, I want to go back and re-emphasize, like, I think Vantage has some of the best art in all these games, just because that brings you into the world, but it's purposefully abstracted in a way, unlike where Scythe was actually based off of the art originally.
The whole game created by
the whole game, yeah. So it's amazing. Like, at first I was like, oh, well, obviously Vantage has art in production, but then the more I thought about it, the less I actually believe that. And so that was one of the brilliant parts about it. I think this, in my mind, these are very neck and neck because some are very clear delineators. The really big thing is that the replay value that's involved with Scythe has a number of expansions, plus it also has the Rise of Fenris, which is a campaign expansion, which Vantage is a campaign naturally, but this has the option to expand into a campaign, so it's not that far behind. While Scythe does take a long time to play, and that definitely scales up with the number of players because everyone's trying to race to do the same thing. There's no scaling down for that. The same is true of Vantage. This is going to be hard for me in my mind to break down. I've already broken down what I think moves on, but we'll see how much of an argument we have, because it could go either way depending on which one you prefer more than others. Now, as far as Scythe goes, obviously meaningful choice in my mind. Scythe, obviously art and production, right? I think, and that's just in my mind. As far as game immersion, doesn't hold a candle. Although it's a cool theme, it's not very. It's player choosing immersion, maybe. I don't know. It's tough, but then it's really replay value and ease of play that break it down. So I'm ready to vote.
All right. I agree with you. Art and production, that's Scythe. Mind you, I say Vantage has the better art based on the component quality in the game. The art, no, don't get me wrong. The artwork is fine in Scythe. I think it's fantastic. But just everything, every little piece that you're getting in Vantage, the art's great on that one. Yeah. However, the pieces and components in the graphic design, it's much more legible. Because like the main graphic on Scythe.
On Scythe. I don't say the graphic design is.
Yeah, I can read that iconography pretty darn well. Okay, compared to Vantage, where I was like, okay, which book am I reading? Is it this book or is it this book? Because these symbols look exactly the same.
Well, I think we're ready to vote.
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Scythe.
Vantage. I don't know why I flipped a coin.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
I was used to it. Vantage. Yeah, no, Vantage. Again, I think it really just boils down to whether you think art and production.
So I think art and production, Scythe. I think replay value is Scythe. And I think meaningful choice is Scythe.
See, I give replay value, ease of play, and game immersion to
Vantage. I agree with you on game immersion.
And the reason why I give replay value, and again, I know like they're both kind of long and they don't scale well, but I think just Vantage that has just, since the turns are so simple, you're still playing as long of a game, but you're getting more turns out of it. So I just feel like it just feels better in my mind. Minimum number of players is obviously Vantage, and expandability is obviously Scythe. And that's
Wingspans later. Hold on.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna be debating that soon. That's why I'm saying like it's just that I felt like that tipped it over in my mind for replay value. But again, we want to hold true. We can take it to the vote.
Let's take it to the vote. That's why we have it.
Yep.
All right. So Vantage is eliminated.
Yep. Figured that.
Yeah.
Scythe's got some love to it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So Scythe moves on. Now we're going to our final of the semifinals, which is Wingspan versus Viticulture Essential Edition. The final of the semifinal rounds. Yeah. All right. That is, again, Wingspan versus Viticulture Essential Edition. You'll be starting again.
I get Viticulture again.
Poker Chip likes you today.
And apparently Wingspan loves you.
Apparently. I mean, I don't... It likes me a lot more than...
All right. We're going to get started here in... now. All right. Viticulture Essential Edition, as we mentioned earlier, is a fantastic game. In fact, this is the game that really put Stonemaier on the map for me. Because I remember I've been wanting to try it. Worker placement is my favorite mechanism. And funny note, we just redid our worker placement second edition or Redux or whatever we were calling it for the top 8 debate. The original top 8 debate winner, the first one we ever did was this specific game, was Viticulture. This was our first ever winner of the top 8 debate. Mind you,
not for no reason.
Yeah, not for no reason. But we hadn't streamlined what we're doing now. So we actually take our bias out of everything and we have our gamer criteria. I think the art and production is fantastic in this one because it has those little cubes for like the wine that you're squishing the grapes and you're aging them and moving them over into the wine. I like that aspect of it. It's neat and I wish more companies use that kind of idea. The component quality is great for what it was back in the day. It's just nice, some good wooden pieces. But again, it's just the story of Stonemaier Games. A lot of these games are just going to relatively go long. He doesn't care about time frame as long as the game is good. But my big issue about this game, even though the theme is really neat, doesn't really feel like I'm running a winery per se because of the goal cards I have in my hand versus the great cards I have drawn. And so that is my big issue with Viticulture, but I love everything about this game. I have everything for it. I have the wine crate, I have the co-op, I have everything for this game, including the new board that just came out, Bordeaux. So it tells you how much I like this game. It's just, I don't know where I'm going on this one when it comes to like the picks and stuff like that. This is a much simpler game than Wingspan. The worker placement is really easy, and I also like to explain that you also have the big dude, so no matter what, you can still go into a spot you want to go into, which clicks in people's minds. It's like, oh, I'm not blocked out from getting grapes that I need. And so, yeah, it works.
Okay. Now I get to argue Wingspan.
Here we go.
Our number 2 rank for a reason, as I said before. Wingspan has one of the most beautiful pieces of components, art, everything. Like it's arguably one of the most beautiful. Now I don't say that Viticulture is ugly in any sense of the word. Mm-hmm. Like the pieces and components are great. It's just bland. Is all get out. You know, and again, that's a subjective thing. I get that. Like I mean, like the Tuscany like winery like landscape that appeals to a lot of people. But you know what also does? Birds, and birds are where it's at. Now, neither of them are thematic in the slightest bit. None of the games have any kind of theme that functionally makes sense thematically with the game. I mean, yeah, technically, the longer you wait in Viticulture, the better you age your wine. But the same thing is for Wingspan, right? The birds you put in their ecosystem, and they kind of do different things based on that, but not really. You know, like just because I put a bird in water doesn't mean suddenly more birds are going to show up, which thematically Wingspan does. So, like, I'm of two minds of this. This was hard for me to judge between the two, and I'm glad you're thinking so hard on this, because this was almost a wash in my personal mind. And it's still pretty close. Yeah. I haven't quite decided yet. So I think we're going to have to break this down specifically
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Because this is really tough for me. I don't think that there's anything specific that like is super obvious that one gets over the other because they're all just finite.
There's actually, it's funny. You want me to just stop?
Yeah, go ahead and stop the timer. I got nothing.
There's two that I think is Wingspan, and there is two that I think is Viticulture,
and the other one's a wash.
That's where
I'm curious. Which one do you think of the wash?
Game Immersion?
Yes. Because neither are more or less fun to lose. They're fine.
Exactly.
There's no memorable moments. Like it's like, do you remember that time I built a bird? It's like, yeah.
I like how we're in agreement on Game Immersion. It's because, like, for me, the way I break it down, I think the art production's better in Wingspan.
And replay
value.
Let's take it to the vote.
Oh, here's my thing, too. Meaningful choice is Viticulture because there is an impact on other players, and that is the main thing. Both have decent depths of strategy, tactical skills, based on what your engine is doing. Some people like to do the egg-laying method. Some people like to do the bird method. That is a possibility for Wingspan. With Viticulture, but both have arbitrary choices. This is my thing, is when I was talking about it, when I was arguing Viticulture.
Yeah.
I have in gold cards that don't work with the grapes I have in my hand, so I have to keep drawing grapes to get the wine that I need to get for
one of the cool things about Viticulture that I think steps above Wingspan and why I gave it meaningful choice is it's the tactics part of it. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't get what you need in Wingspan, you're just SOL, right? But if you don't get what you need in Viticulture, it's either because it's at the end of the seasons, which would make sense because that's a little more random anyway that way. But really, you need to adapt your tactics. If you take a spot that I need in spring or whatever the season is, like the second or third one, then I need to adapt to that, right? And that's part of the tactics that I know that is going to be contentious later on. If I need to adapt for it, I need to plan on a second and a third options. Versus in Wingspan, it's like, oh, I drew like 4 birds and I got nothing that I needed. Well, cool.
Yeah, and that's why I agree with you.
That's what it is.
Viticulture is better on that aspect because there is a good pivot choice.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, both of them have arbitrary choices. Is like, if I'm drawing up stuff that are just not working for me, no matter how many times I go there, it's like, then I got to go to the other one and draw in-game goals that work with what I have now in my hand.
Right.
And so if you're not getting good draws, you're kind of screwed one way or another.
True, yeah.
But yeah, so I agree with you.
Really, it just boils down to impact on other players. Right?
Yeah.
Because you do have a legitimate impact on other players
in Viticulture.
Yeah.
And I like that fact just because, like, I'm going to go here, I'm going to get this reward, and now I block you out. So now you have a choice. Do I take my big guy and go here because I really need to go to that spot? Do I save him for something else?
That's right.
So yeah, it does have that.
Cool.
But Game Immersion, yeah.
So let's just send it to the vote because really, like, it's a wash.
Yeah, not surprising to me. Wingspan moves on.
Yep. All right. So
for everybody knows, our top 4 were roughly our top 4 vote getters as well. Vantage just got eliminated with 8% of the vote. And then finally, Viticulture Central Edition got eliminated with 16% of the vote. It actually doubled Vantage. Again, this has also been one of our biggest vote getters. There was officially 392 votes before we closed the poll. So there's a lot of love for Stonemaier Games.
There is.
With that being said, we're going into the back end, and we are going into the final with our number 1 seed Scythe going up against our number 2 seed Wingspan. We don't pick something out of here, so this is going to be a fun one.
And like the immediate one that I thought of, like, and well, we're not going to get into it yet, but yeah, I mean, I know which one I'd prefer to win between the two, but there is one category because we don't debate them anymore. We're just going to pick the categories and break them down. There's one category that I thought was just going to be hand in hand, boom. That's obvious. But then I remembered that Scythe was also inspired by the art. I thought art and production was Wingspan at first, but then I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's take it down. So, is there one that you think is obvious? And before you say replay value, remember, there's a campaign in Scythe.
But there's 7 or 6 expansions for Wingspan.
Yeah.
that
6 expansion, yeah.
There's going to be 6 expansions. There is currently 5.
But there's not a campaign.
That we know of.
That we know of.
Yeah.
I know. The
Wingspan Legacy.
Wingspan Legacy. Oh, God. I hope not. I really hope not.
No, but I'm just saying, we know that expandability is there. Yeah. But from base to base, that's how I'm going to roll this. we can do the expansions. Yeah, there is the Rise of Fenris, but there's only 2 other expansions, including the Rise of Fenris. In Wingspan, there is currently in action 6 expansions. In fact, there is a 7th expansion. The fan cards for birds that weren't brought in. That is a full expansion, and there's 4 of them, I think. So those are expansions too. So that's what
I'll give expandability.
Minimum number of players for the full experience. Base to base, the cards. There's a lot more cards that you're gonna have to get through.
Wingspan is more.
But there's so much story inside too, just out of those base cards, because you have those little things that we do at the very beginning of a game that will have, like, we do this, and then we look at this, and that's where you get your choices. You have 3 choices. The original, I forget what they're called. There's the ones that tokens that you run to trigger.
It's just alternate setup though. Like,
no, it's not alternate. It's the story part of it, where it's like, you run into a farmer, you steal his cow, or you steal his land, or you take care of the family.
Yeah, but I mean, compared to like 300 birds that are all different, and all.
It's more like 150, but sure. I'd say that's
there's not 150 of those.
That's why I said replay value for me, I think, is Wingspan. Yes, it has a campaign, but that is a whole other expansion that you don't need to get.
No, and I think it scales better at Wingspan as well.
It does.
Okay, so Wingspan gets 1 point for replay value.
I can't really do art and production.
I think ease of play is Wingspan.
The one I was going to actually say is, for me, meaningful choice, that is Scythe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree with that.
And you're saying Wingspan?
I think Wingspan is easier because, I mean, it literally...
Yeah, that first time we played Scythe and the mechanism, it's like now we're used to it because of stuff like Villainous and stuff like that. But when that first came out, I was like, wait, what?
No, that was such a hard thing to grab.
And then doing the bottom action as well, but you also need to have that specific stuff done. Yeah, I agree.
And the thing is, like, there's arbitrary choices in both, right? And there's more arbitrary choices in Wingspan, arguably, but that doesn't negatively impact it necessarily. I mean, the arbitrary choices, like, yes, anyway, not including the payment for the cards. The food, that sucks. Like, that's super random. But the thing is, with arbitrary choices in that, you could just put it down, figure out how they run, and this is why I think Ease of Play goes to Wingspan, is because as long as you get the stuff to pay for the card, you can pay for the card, you can kind of not care what the card does, and you can learn how the game works throughout playing it. Whereas Scythe, like, you get one thing wrong to anybody who's experienced, you're done. Like, you can't catch up to them. Yeah. So I think Ease of Play goes to Wingspan for that reason.
So we have 2 left. It is right now 2-1. Game immersion and art and production. I'll come to art and production in a little bit because that's going to be the hard one.
That's going to be the hard one. Game immersion.
Both are fairly fun to lose.
Neither are fun to lose, right.
I actually, they're fine either way. I have fun in both of these games.
Sure.
I think this is where the game immersion for me, I think, goes one over the other, is player interaction. The table talk and the role playing. And that, for me, is Scythe. Because of the fact that me and Gamehead Geek will basically are both trying to run for the thing, or we're all trying to avoid Damn It Dom because he just kind of crews his mechs out there, and you're like, I don't want to fight with him. He's got all those cards. I don't want to deal with that kind of thing. And so it gives me that aspect. Both of them don't really have that many memorable moments. I mean, you feel really cool when you win a battle against another opponent, but you also feel really cool when your birds are triggering your engine where you needed to go, I'm drawing this food, and then I get everybody a food, and then I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and now I have like 60 cards in my hands, and I have like 4 food, or like 50 food, and I'm like, okay, I'm good for the next couple turns.
Although the last game that we played with Gamehead Geek, when he had to attack me, and then I was kind of like, all right, here's a full thing. And we were both like, okay. Yeah. And he was like, okay, that wasn't well. I needed it for the start, but... Yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I get it. It just felt so flat for us. But I don't disagree with you. I think game immersion does go to Scythe. All right. Because that's versus Wingspan. It's like, don't tweet at me so loudly. Like, what are you saying? There's no immersion.
This is a game that is a multiplayer solitaire. Wingspan is. I mean, there's cool stuff, and I have a great time playing it with my other group. Yeah. But again, what am I doing to you?
I just like...
other than I took her favorite bird of the penguin, so...
Right. And see, here's the thing, right? Like, some people say that that Wingspan is a thematic game. No, you like the theme.
Mm-hmm.
That's two different things.
Yeah.
You can love the theme. That doesn't make it a thematic game. Because
I will give Wingspan its due. It brought a lot of people into the hobby.
Right. And that's great. That's not what I'm saying.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm giving its due because when we're going to the art and production part of it, this is going to be interesting.
That's part of the factor, right? I'm just saying it's not a thematic game. It's not an immersive game, but it's a lovely theme.
So I'm in two minds on the art and production. Like, yes, Scythe is created by the art of the game. But, man, the art style of Wingspan, I really love. So for me, on that aspect of it, it's a wash.
Okay.
Because I love both the art on there. Both the art is great.
I don't think there's either of them that I can argue.
Yeah. Pieces and components, you're going to be surprised on this. I'm going to say Scythe. Those mechs are really good. The component quality just out of the game, because they give you good resources out of the game that are designed. And you know what I mean? You do have to upgrade the coins and stuff like that. Whereas Wingspan gives you about the same kind of thing. You get the really cool eggs or that just sit on your thing. You get food, which are just tokens.
But the dice, the bird feeder dice
tower. The bird feeder dice tower is really cool.
And I normally am not in love with wooden dice, but the all natural theming of that,
the wooden really dice cool. Would have. It works. That's what I'm saying.
It only makes sense.
But I'm just saying. But I also like a lot of the Scythe. What Scythe does too with their pieces.
I think they're a wash also.
Okay, and graphic design. And this is where I don't know if this is going to go to Wingspan or not, but I'll just hear me on this one. I think Wingspan is just a little bit better on the graphic design just because of the iconography. I know what everything the iconography is telling me. Whereas Scythe, it took me a while. Even now, when we set up the board, wait, no, this is the monument. This goes here. When I'm setting up my own board, wait, no, my cubes go to the top. Or no, wait, I want them at the bottom because I want to move them and put them into the top to make things cheaper. And so I'm constantly moving those because it's a bit of a rough on that setup. The iconography is not bad, but like you have the power thing is like, what is this? Is this the power one or is that the power one? Which is that symbol over there? So I just think the iconography is slightly simpler in Wingspan, but it's just slightly, like I said, like you could change my mind on it,
right?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'm gonna be because I don't think that the iconography is better in one than the other. I mean, maybe Wingspan, but my argument for Wingspan actually is even though the font is small in Wingspan, they have a low visibility version.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that it's not small font on those event cards or whatever, because it's a tarot-sized card and it's
I still have
fourth of the board.
I still have to put my cheaters on for it.
A fourth of the whole thing, because they had the art covering it up. Like, literally, the bottom little sliver of the card is like 6 options. Like, they jam-packed that into that because I want to show the art. It's like, but how often do you remember what art is on what card? You don't.
I also
gotta say art. It deserves to be there, but it's graphically
I don't disagree
harder.
with you, because I also just realized something about Wingspan too.
Yeah.
When we're talking about those cards, it actually makes it easy for you. If it's brown, it trigger it when you're going down the road. If it's, and some of the expansions, if they're blue, they're for something at the end of the round. If they're yellow, they're for something at the end of the game. If they're white, it's a play immediately kind of thing. And so that's actually very intuitive for people to understand too, where I agree with you. It's like, oh God.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it to Wingspan. Art production, which means Wingspan is our winner.
Okay, number 2 seed.
Big one.
And here's what's crazy about this. If we went to the vote, it's a 1% difference between the two.
Yeah.
Scythe was our number 1 vote getter at 22%. Wingspan had 21%.
And it's really just one of our 15 sub-criteria.
Yeah. That was one sub-criteria. So this was close. Stonemaier actually evenly kills his games pretty darn well. And the thing is, it went into art production. I told you that was going to be one of the hardest things we're going to talk about. Yeah. So, all right. With that being said, congratulations to Wingspan. You're moving on to the Champions of Champions edition for the 3rd time, I believe, for them.
Probably.
So, cool. And I actually am happy that we finally got to talk about Stonemaier Games outside of the Stonemaier interview.
Yeah, and now we're done. No. we did like a compare and contrast or something. We did some kind of breakdown.
I don't. Well,
we did a recent Stonemaier thing.
Yeah, we did something Stonemaier, but I don't remember what it was. But
I don't remember.
We talked about something, or actually, no, I think it's we did a couple Redux kind of stuff, and so we talked a lot more Stonemaier Games. That's what's going on. So, because I know APRE made a worker placement top 8 debate.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, we hope you'd enjoyed our episode. Let us know if you agree or disagree. Let me know exactly why in the comments below that you think Libertalia, you agree with me, should have won this whole debate. That's regardless of the point, though. We have an email, everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. Email us whether it's ideas for future episodes, whether it's to enter in future contests, or just reach out and say hello. Also, we have an Instagram, instagram.com/everydayboardgames. Make sure you follow us there to see the games that Daniel and I have been playing together. And finally, we have a Discord. Link is down in the description wherever you're listening to this podcast.
All video re-uploads and reviews are found under youtube.com/@everydayboardgames. And if you like what we do, there are 3 things you can do to help us grow on the platform. Subscribe if you're not, like the video, and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject.
We also stream our episodes live at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames. Make sure you follow us there so you're notified when we join live, and join in on the chat by any of our friends who have joined in today.
And all audio versions can be found on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and Apple.
So we want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board games.